After arriving, the first place we visit in the UK is Wepre Park. Located in the Flintshire countryside, it's 160 acres of ancient woodland with a fascinating history and an abundance of wildlife. The dam and waterfall were originally created by Victorian residents to generate electricity for the Old Hall. Unfortunately, the Old Hall was demolished in 1960, and all that remains is the Old Hall Gardens. The Visitor Centre and Old Hall Cafe were built on the site in 1989.
So you should stop.
The brewery bridge leads to the castle. Ely Castle is interesting because it was built in a corner of Wepre Woods by Welsh Prince Llewellyn Gruffydd in defiance of the English monarchy rather than for defensive purposes. It's not on high ground, it has rather low walls, and the towers were only 2 to 3 stories high. The Guardian of the Woods was carved by Phil Bewes in 1994 from the remains of a dead birch tree. It represents the wealth of wildlife that lives in the woodlands and needs our protection and care. The River Dee rises from Snowdonia in Wales and flows east via Chester in England. I enjoyed the poem The Sands of Dee by Charles Kingsley about a cattlewoman who drowned when the river rose suddenly. Flint Castle was built between 1277 and 1284 and was the first in a chain of fortresses built by King Edward I along the North Wales coastline. It was protected by a moat and the River Dee. Flint Castle stands at the eastern doorway into North Wales. As we wander about the base of the Great Tower, I can't help but be in awe at how well the castle was built. This is evident even though the castle is in ruin today. As Shakespeare recorded in his play, Richard II, in 1399, King Richard stopped briefly at the castle during his conflict with Henry Bolingbroke, Duke of Lancaster, and future King Henry IV. It was at Flint that Richard attended chapel and then climbed the donjon's walls to view the arrival of Bolingbroke. Here Richard agreed to abdicate in favour of his opponent. time to get a bite to eat at the Munchbox Holywell, and a couple of local lads told us about the Duke of Lancaster, beached near Mostyn Docks on the River Dee. The steamship has an interesting history. Originally commissioned for the Heysham to Belfast route, she did travel to the Scottish Islands and parts of Europe. In 1970, the Duke of Lancaster was upgraded to carry vehicles. Then in 1979 became the fun ship, games, casino and disco. Then an art gallery for selected graffiti artists. Hope you enjoyed part 1. Part 2 coming soon.